getting my place, like I said, I didn't want to tell her who I was because I knew she was going to show up on some BS. My mom calls me a couple weeks ago, says, oh, I want to move back out to Vegas, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, all right. I tell her how much it is to get a suite. She's like, oh, okay. Well, when I get out there, we could talk about getting an apartment together. I have no intention on living with anybody, especially my mother, okay? And I expressed this to her many times. So I said, she's like, okay, I understand. I say, so the suite is this much. This is how much it is to move in. It's about $1,000. You're going to need this, blah, 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 blah. So don't leave Wisconsin without that money. She comes out here yesterday. She's been telling me for the last couple of weeks that I need to talk to the lady at the front office, ask her about vacancies, which I did. But what is talking to her going to do? Are you going to have the money or not? When you come out here, you're going to have the money. She kept saying, I'm going to help you with your rent. Now, no offense. I don't want any help from my family with anything. Okay. Like, this is a big part of why I be in these depressive states around the holidays, why I hate the holidays, why I'm indifferent, why I'm standoffish when it comes to people trying to get close to me, why I self-isolate and especially because when people do stuff like that, like when she wants to do stuff like that, it's quid pro. It's like, okay, I did that, so I'm entitled to a key. Like, for instance, she comes in, she gets mad at me this morning because I don't leave her my key. This is my apartment, okay? I'm not going to leave you my key so you can be out and about and have your funky ass friends coming up to my doorstep. Then she has them, and I say them, her fucking goon ass people bring her to my front door when I was supposed to meet her yesterday when she came up in the first place. It's just a complete lack of respect for my personal space and what's going on. Now, under normal circumstances, of course, I have no issues with her coming out here and visiting and all that. And if it was just under, you know, if she was actually telling the truth, it would be dope. But it's always a game. It's always a scheme. It's always trying to manipulate me into doing some shit that I'm not trying to do right now, especially after the fun year I've had. Because when the people that are closest to you make you feel the way that they do, you know, and my mom is one of the closest people to me, if not the closest person to me. Like yesterday, she got an attitude with me when I heard that she's calling me. She's like, what's your address? I gave her the address because I texted her the address. My mom knows the city. She acts like she doesn't. All right, whatever. I tell her to meet me on the corner by the 7-Eleven that y'all see me at, blah, blah, blah. I'll bring you over to my place. She acts like she's oblivious. I hear in the background talking. Now, I've told y'all, the people that my mom have dealt with in the past and the people that my mom dealt with in the city are not people that I associate with at all. Because, like I've expressed to her and I've expressed to everybody I know, the reason I don't associate with certain people and certain elements of people is because I would crash out on. You feel me? And the last thing I need is for them niggas showing up at my house or knowing where I'm living or knowing how I'm moving just because you have this parasocial relationship with these up ass people. Her ex-boyfriend, his goonish ass sons. Like, take in mind the guy that brought her, the son that brought her, the friend, I say the son because it was her ex-boyfriend's son, has threatened my mother in the past. And she is, you know, told me and my brother about this situation and how are we supposed to navigate or dealing with these people when this motherfucker has threatened you. And you bring this nigga to my house, right? When I obviously am not, like, I'm not the nigga that's gonna sit up there and be polite, bro. Don't bring people to my house, bro. You come. If you say you're coming, I'm like, all right, my mom coming. But you bring some goonish ass niggas to my house, completely disregarding my peace. Completely disregarding what I've said about being associated with those specific people in general. Now, the thing that is very disrespectful to me, and my friend has pointed out, my ex has pointed it out, is that she wouldn't do this to my brother. She wouldn't bring these people to my brother's house like that. She wouldn't maneuver with my brother the way she tries to maneuver with me. And the reason that she maneuvers the way she maneuvers with me, like saying, oh, I'm going to come out there and help you, even though I've already told her, I don't want your help. Mind you, when I was out here on the street, when I was living in this very my mother came out here under the pretense of, oh, I'm coming out here to help her ex. So her ex had got his ass whooped. Okay, let me tell y'all a little bit of history about her ex. Her ex is a drug dealer. His family, they sell drugs out here. They're goons. They're thugs. One of his sons was just on the news last year because he went up in his ex-girlfriend's house or something with a gun, toting, shooting, and all that. These are these type of people. These are these type of people, you understand? So her ex-boyfriend was out here earlier this year selling his shit, right? On the west side where I live, right? Not too far from where I live. And somebody caught his ass off guard, knocked his ass out, beat him, right? Beat him because he's mentally not all there right now. beat them, left them in the fucking, on the desert fucking concrete for hours frying. And so my mom used that as a pretense to come out here and say, oh, I'm coming out here to help him. But meanwhile, she's sinking money into hotels, right? She convinced me at one point while I'm sleeping out here to come and help me pay for this hotel, and I'll repay you so you can take in mind, when I'm living here, I was saving to get off the street. She tells me, oh, I'm gonna just do it, and then I'll help you get the suite. My mom never refunded me that money. So what ended up happening with that is I had to end up sleeping outside my job. I had to sleep outside this park, and I'm not blaming her. I'm blaming myself for even going to stay at the hotel with her. A couple times y'all saw me at the Stratosphere. Yeah, I was there with my mother. My mother was like, come on to the Stratosphere. That was me helping her pay to stay there because she was out here. She didn't have a place to go. And I sunk myself even further. The reason it took me so long to even get off the fucking street was because I was running with her program. Never run with somebody's program. Bro, never, bro. Like that's what I'm saying. I don't want to live with nobody. I don't want nobody around me. And anybody that knows me knows that this is always the thing. My ex was like, why did you even tell her that you even got a place? You knew what she was going to do. And what kind of irritates me is that everything my ex said that my mom was going to do, she has done. Everything. Every single thing down to the T.
Hey, y'all. Trying something new. I'm on StreamYard, and there's nobody on the live. Excuse me. So probably won't be using StreamYard again because normally if I'm on live, at least one person would be here at this point, but nobody is. But anyways, let me continue on with this. I wish somebody was on that way I could tell if you guys can hear me and stuff. But anyways, I'll keep going. And then if the video looks crappy, I will delete it later. But the title of this video is called All Moms Are Not Created Equal. And I think this gentleman, and the title of the video is called Another Black Man with Mommy Issues. That's what he titled it. He knows that he got mom issues, you know? And I think this was I think it popped up number one on my feed because I was having a conversation online with somebody about parents and moms, and that sometimes, you know, our moms are not always the best. They're not always the best to themselves, and they're not always the best to us, you know. And sometimes separating yourself from your parents, especially your moms, sometimes could be the best thing for you, you know. And so I think that's why this guy popped up on my video, but I ended up watching the whole thing, and this guy's mom really has put him through the ringer. So basically, he's been homeless, but he has got himself all the way up to where he's got his own place now. And he didn't even want to tell anybody that he had a place because he was fearful that, you know, she was going to want to come and just mess up what he got going on. And that's exactly is what's happening, you know. He's using social media as a place to vent, and that's what he said. He said, I'm not just, you know, he goes, I'm just getting this off my chest. And I told him in the comments, go ahead, brother, get it off your chest, because listen, we have all been there. Like all the stuff he describes, I've been there, I've seen it, been through it, got the phone calls, just sigh, just shake my head, you know. And this reminds me of a live stream I was watching a couple of days ago, where, you know, we were talking about finances and all of the things that we sacrifice for our family and for our friends and loved ones and things like that. And sometimes what we get out of it is nothing, which oftentimes we don't do it to get anything back. But when you give something that you don't have, it could be a detriment to you, you know. And I was sharing that when I finally cut my mom off, that's when I was able to save my first $10,000. And you know, the older I get, the more I realize, you know, that sometimes I have to put me first. Like there were times where I went without just to help out, you know, my mom and my family back home. And the problem is with my mother, I wouldn't say that she didn't appreciate it, but she didn't appreciate it. She took it for granted, you know. And there was a point where, I mean, if I look back and really calculated all of the money that I spent, it would be a lot. It would be like in the tens of thousands, you know. just over the years, giving, 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 giving. Now, I don't regret any of that because I had to get to a point myself to where I understood that what I was doing was really not helping her, and it certainly wasn't helping me. I mean, at the time when I cut her off, like I needed a new computer. There were so many things that I was neglecting doing for myself because I knew she was going to need it, you know? Um, and so one day I just finally said, I can't do this no more. It was like, no, you know? And I felt really bad because I knew at that time exactly what my mom and little brother were going through at the time, but I just couldn't. And let me tell you something, probably a year and a half later, my mom thanked me for cutting her off because she said if it wasn't for me cutting her off, she wouldn't have been able to do what it was that she had to do for herself. And that right there was confirmation from the Most High that let me know you did the right thing. It may have hurt, and it may have hurt her, and it may have hurt you, and you had some sleepless nights, not knowing if they were eating, not knowing if they were safe, not knowing, but I had to. I had to. It was the toughest thing, one of the toughest things I ever did. But I know in my heart of hearts, looking back, that it was the best thing for all of us, you know? And I think my main point from even like talking about this, definitely not to disparage my mom, because I will say this. My mom was, my mom did the best that she could with what she knew and with what she had, number one. Number two, my mom was my biggest cheerleader. I'm talking about my mom is the person that instilled, pride, black pride, pride of me loving myself for who I am, everything about me. My mom always bigged up me, but my mom also took advantage of me. Before I joined the military and before I got in my last job, before I joined the military, I was living with my mom. I was living in San Diego. She had moved up to LA County, and she was like, just come stay here with me. So I came up there, stayed with her for a little bit, her and my little brother. And I was expected to pay rent, which is fine. I don't have no problem paying rent, but I was sharing a room with my 6-year-old brother. My brother was like 5, 6 years old. You know what I'm saying? And she wanted me to pay half. And I'm thinking, but I'm sharing a room with the kid. Like, what are you talking about? But I did it because it is what it is, right? So I paid her the half. But not only that, my mom would nickel and dime me every time I got paid. I need this, I need that. Da, da, da. But the thing is, my mom was a shopaholic. My mom was a recovering addict, but she still had some addict ways about her, right? So any money I got, she thought she was entitled to. So she would nickel and dime me. And I was that one child out of the three that would just basically give her whatever she wanted, whatever she needed, tried my best to please her, being a people pleaser. And I would do that, but it was at a detriment to me. So especially when I left for the military and she knew, oh, she's got a stable check coming in, I can get this out of her, da da da, So I was taken advantage of. And the thing that hurts about that situation was just like the guy on here said that his mom would half the stuff that his mom tried with him, she would have never tried with his brother. And my mom was the same. My sister came and lived with my mom, didn't pay no rent, sat up there, ate up all the food, slept all day, had children on her in the house, just not doing nothing. And my mom didn't require her to do. But for me, I was the one that was I was the one that had to do X, Y, and Z, And I bet if I had done what my sister had done, it probably wouldn't have gone the same way. You know what I'm saying? But all moms just aren't created equal. All of them aren't just that loving, that soft place to land all the time, But at the end of the day, I think that is for the betterment of us. I think if it weren't for my mom being the way that she was with me, I probably wouldn't be where I am today. So I am grateful. Like I said before, um, even things that seem bad always end up being for the good, you know? And, my thing now, being an adult, having my own child, I don't ever want to be that type of mother. Like I pray to God that I don't ever be that type of mother that burdens my child, you know? And this lady, He's not the only one. I wasn't the only one. I know so many people, that are taking care of their parents, have taken care of their parents, have done that back and forth, and the parents just took advantage of them, and felt like they were entitled to whatever that kid had. And to me, it's just so unfair. It is so unfair. So I just want people, if you are in a position where you have family that takes advantage of you, um, don't let them, there's going to be a time and point where you're just going to have enough. Enough is going to be enough. And you're just going to say, I understand why there are some parents, some kids that just don't talk to their moms. I understand. I feel bad for them because I feel like, once that parent is gone, you're going to regret a lot. But I also understand that some people know how to choose their peace. They know how to choose their peace. And sometimes it looks like cutting off your mom, especially if you got a toxic ass mama. You got to cut her off, and then come back later. And that's what I would do periodically. I would cut my mom off here and there. I've got letters. There's letters that I still haven't read that my mom used to mail me when we weren't talking, because I just needed a break. It would just be too much. The guilt trips for not doing what she wanted. And it always, most of the time, it revolved around me giving her money for something, And it's like, if I said no, then it was just like, oh, the worst thing on the planet. Like, how dare she? Not my angel, not the one that always, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes you got to just take a break from people just so that you can have that peace, so you can regroup, and come back to it. And in between that time, just establish boundaries. I think oftentimes we just don't establish boundaries with our moms, and we let them get away with murder, and we hold it in. And then we get to a point to where we're just like, F it, I'm not dealing with her no more. But sometimes, if you have the strength, if you have it in you, let them know, I don't appreciate this. I can't do this for you. I can't do that. I'm not going to do that, set up those boundaries. At the end of the day, moms are always going to love their kids. Like, that's one thing about my mom, is she never gave up on me. And she, unconditional love does exist, but I think that's only between a parent and the child. I don't think unconditional love exists outside of that at all, you know. Thanks to whoever is on the live. I appreciate you. I'm not going to be here long. I don't see anybody in the comments. I'm on StreamYard today, so it's looking a little different, a little funky. I don't know. We'll see how this goes. I wanted to play that video so that you guys can get a gist of what I'm talking about. But yeah, I don't believe in, going online and disparaging your mom. But that guy, he really had a lot going on, and he had to just get that off of his chest. And I completely understood what he was talking about. I understood, you know. I totally understand. I have a friend that was taking care of her mom, and she ended up sending her mom back to where she was at. This was like in the last year, and my friend, since then, her health has increased, has gotten better, over the last year, and she's happy every time I see her, or we message each other. It was like letting that, you know what I'm saying? Me, I knew what I could and couldn't deal with. I could only deal with my mom in doses. So my mom, she would come stay with me for about 3 or 4 months, and then she'd go back to Cali. She'd be tired of my brother and sister, and then she'd come back with me. And when my mom came with me, I took excellent care of my mom. I would come home on my lunch breaks, feed her lunch, and then leave, come back, and my mom, she would come all swollen and just unhealthy and stuff like that. And I would doctor her up. I would not feed her crap. I would just, do everything I could, make sure she was getting her water, make sure she was doing everything, make sure she had everything that she needed, didn't push her too much, just did whatever, gave her peace. I just gave her the peace that she wasn't getting when she was back home, and she would recoup and get good. And then she'd go back home, and then the cycle would start all over. And then she'd come back to me, and she'd be all swollen and puffy all over again because she had congestive heart failure, and so I just re-doctor her up or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But it would get to a point where she needed to be around that. Like me, I'm the square, I'm the boring, I'm the, you know what I'm saying? My brother and sister, they rah, always something, you know what I'm saying? And I think she missed that because, every day she would be on the phone with them. What y'all doing? Da, 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 da. You know what I'm saying? Like, she missed that, And so she would go back home and be with them for a little bit. And then she'd get tired of their mess. And then she'd come back out with me. You know what I'm saying? And, what's interesting is that my mother is no longer here. My mom died in 2020, right? Um, February 15th, 2020. And so, when a person dies and a person also did a lot of negative things, like I could list off all the stuff. I'm sure we all could say, oh, my mama said this to me. That was dirty. My mama did this my mom's done all those things. My mom was an addict off and on, for most of my life. So you guys already know what comes with that, right? So just imagine all of the things that could possibly happen with that. Probably half of that stuff occurred and I witnessed and been through and dealt with or whatever, right? But through all of that, like I said, my mom was still my biggest cheerleader. I could talk to my mom pretty much about anything. And so I had already dropped the resentment. I had already forgave my mom for a lot of the stuff. And that was helpful to our relationship, you know. I had forgiven her for a lot of stuff. Did certain things still bother me? Yes. But forgiveness was already there. So when my mom passed away unexpectedly, it was very, very hard. And I still miss my mom to this day. When you lose a mom, that's a loss that I don't think you could compare to anything. Losing a mom is something out of this world. And that pain of losing your mom never goes away. I don't care how jacked up your mama treated you or your mama was. I promise you, when that lady is gone, you gonna feel it for sure, for sure. you know and miraculously enough, most of the things that I still held resentment towards, I don't hold that same resentment anymore. And I don't know if it's because she's no longer here, or if it's time, or if it's both, or if it's God, you know. But I know that one thing: the stronger my relationship with the Most High increases, uh, the less resentment I feel towards a lot of people and a lot of things. I just move on because I have to understand how grateful I am just to even be here still. Because guess what? If it wasn't for your mama bringing you in this world, you wouldn't be here. Period. You know, when my mom was 17 or 18, I think she graduated high school when she was 16. My mom was like super smart, right? And she graduated high school when she was 16. She was skipped 2 times in school. And she went into the army at 17. And she ended up leaving the army because my grandmother had gotten sick. And so she felt like my grandmother needed her, when in fact my grandmother really didn't need her. And I don't know if my grandmother put a guilt trip on her or whatever, and that's why my mom came back. But I know for a fact that my mom resented my grandmother for her having that missed opportunity. But I'm grateful because I wouldn't be here. I would be a whole another person, a whole different kid. So I'm grateful that that happened, you know what I'm saying? But I know that my mom missed out on a lot by tending to her mother, you know. And the way that my mom felt about my grandmother all those years up until the point that she died, I don't ever want to feel that way towards or about my mom. But moms have to do better. Like, a lot of you guys are really out here burdening your kids. Like, a lot of people feel like I had kids, so when I'm in a bind, it's their responsibility to look out for me, when that's not the case. You brought them into this world. God blessed you enough to bring forth life and to raise an individual to be a productive member of society. You made that decision to carry that out and to bring this kid into this world. Kids don't ask to be here. They don't ask to be here. So it isn't their responsibility to take care of you when they become adults or when they start making a little bit of money. I can't stand that. And that's why to this day, I'm trying my darnest to make sure that I'm set up so that when I get older and, God forbid, I start having some severe health issues, that my kid doesn't have to, um, take care of me financially. You know, it would be nice if he and his wife said, hey, come and stay with me. We'll take care of you until your dying days. But if he doesn't, I will understand. I will understand, because I don't ever want to be a burden to my kids. And it's a shame that a lot of moms out here, because let's just be honest, women are the ones raising these kids. The fathers are nowhere to be found. 80% of households in America are single parent, and a majority of those are women. Single mothers are raising these kids, raising these boys and girls, right? And a lot of them are depending on these children to be their backup plan. Don't make your kids your backup plan. It's just not fair. And it's heartbreaking to see. People take advantage of that. And I don't know if this is something that's prevalent in other communities, but it is highly prevalent in the Black community. It is a thing. I see it all the time. All the time. All the time. You know? And I know times are hard, and I know that, circumstances dictate certain outcomes, but this is just a plea to women that have children. Don't burden your kids with your stuff. Get your stuff together. Do what you got to do now. Get your education. Learn a trade. Learn a skill. Have money. Start your retirement plan. All of that stuff. That way, when you get old and you can't work anymore, or if you get sick, you're not just dependent on Social Security, because it's not enough to sustain. And then you won't have to ask your son or your daughter, to pay these bills and that bills. I don't think there's anything wrong with if your kid has it to give and they give it to you. Absolutely, by all means. But to depend on that, I don't think that's right. I don't think that's right at all. I don't think a lot of times moms realize the stress that they put on their children by consistently asking for financial help, and physical help and emotional help. I would sit on the phone with my mom sometimes for hours just listening to her cry, and it's like half of the stuff I couldn't even relate to because I didn't put myself in those situations for those things to happen. And I would tell my mom, get you a counselor, get a therapist, go to the church and talk to somebody, because there was a point where I was just like, Mom, I don't have, there's nothing I could say. I'm sorry. I've already, I try to play counselor and therapist and, all that, did all that, been there, done that. But if you still doing the same thing, there's really nothing else I could say. I can't relate. My mom ended up losing her leg, and she was frustrated at that and mad at the world. And while I had empathy for that situation, I just couldn't relate. I said, they gave you brochures with, groups, therapy groups, for loss of limbs that you could go to them, because they understand. I don't understand, because she would snap at me, and I'm like, you're right. I don't understand. I'm sorry. And there's only so much I can say. Do this, do that, do that, but your kids are not your counselors. Your kids are not the bank. Leave your kids alone. Let them live their lives. Be proud that you raised them to be self-sufficient adults and keep it moving. Now I know times are hard, times are rough, and sometimes we have to live with our children, or our kids have to come live with us. That's absolutely fine. I would never judge that type of situation, because the way the economy is, it's jacked up. I think it's a blessing to be able to have a family to go to and stay with, or that your kids want to come home and stay with a little bit, and they put in on the bills, and now you don't have to worry about X, Y, and Z because the economy. That's great. But I'm talking about mothers that take advantage of their kids, just like this guy's mama is doing, bringing, the wrong type of people around, putting him in a situation to where he's going to have to fight, just causing a ruckus, just being toxic. I can't stand people like that, you know? Mm-mm-mm. Well, nobody's talking back to me on here, so I guess I'll end the live. But I just wanted to get that off my chest. I thought I'd try something different and hop on and see if I got any participants today. But there is nobody on today. So hopefully you guys will watch the replay. Hopefully it recorded well. I'm going to end the live and then go back and see what it looked like. But I was trying something new, y'all. I got to get a new webcam so that I could do a reaction video, because that's what I want to. I wanted to react to it, pause it, talk my spill, and then play it again, whatever. But I need a good, I have the program, and I have a laptop to do that on, but I need a good webcam, because those standard webcams that come with the computers, they don't look good at all. They're grainy and crappy and stuff like that. And so I'd rather come on and be nice and clear, so you guys can see all of the flaws in my face. Like some of y'all probably zoom in and look and be like, oh, this bitch got a big ass pimple on her forehead. She need to pop it. What up, Forzy again? How are you? But I'm about to pop off of here. I don't know if you were able to see. I didn't know if anybody was on for a while there, and I didn't know how clear it came through, if the video in the beginning showed up or not. I'm on StreamYard, so I guess because I'm on StreamYard, the algorithm on YouTube isn't pushing it like that. But it's all good. It is all good. So yeah, hopefully I can get a webcam soon. I probably wait till the beginning of the year. He said, yeah, I couldn't find my phone. I lost it when I was coming back. Oh man, where did it end up being? Where was it? I hate losing my phone. That's like the worst. I lost my phone about 2 weeks ago when I had to go out to Richmond, VA. And thank God I left it in my nephew's car. And I got lost because I didn't have my GPS. I'm not familiar with Richmond. I was downtown at a doctor's appointment, underwent a minor procedure. So I still had anesthesia in me. It was you still can't find it? Oh my gosh. Do you have the Find My Phone app on your laptop? Because I use my son's iPad and click Find My Phone. It's attached to that, so I knew it was with him. But oh my gosh, I hope you find it, bruh. People don't understand that these phones are literally mini computers. That's why they cost so much. This is a computer in your hand. Very valuable. So I hope you find it, bruh. That is horrible. It'll pop up. Hopefully a good Samaritan will turn it in. If I had a truck on my phone, I wouldn't. Oh, okay. Do you have you had anybody call it? Anybody answer it or anything yet? Or is it going straight to voicemail? Look at me trying to help you retrack your steps. So where was it last? You got to just retrace your steps. Try to figure out where you lost it. But yeah, y'all, I was in Richmond and my procedure was at 2, and then another procedure at 3. And then my nephew came and got me at 4. Now, mind y'all, it's starting to get dark earlier, right? So by the time me and him got something to eat, rested for about 30 minutes, I said, all right, let me get on this road so I can go get my son. He took me back to the hospital, got my car. And in between leaving his car with my bags, my phone was gone. So I get in my car. He's driving away. I'm looking like, where's my phone? He's all the way down the street and like around the corner. And I'm like, Julian! I'm yelling. Of course, he can't hear me. So I get in my car. I try to go to where he's at real quick. And it was like a shopping plaza and then the light, and he was gone. I didn't remember how to get back to he was about 15, 20 minutes away. I didn't know how to get back to his house. I didn't know where his job was because he had to go to work. So I stopped at the Wawa like, yo, I'm just trying to get to the 64 going west. How do I get there? This lady's like, So she pulls up her cell phone and she's typing stuff in. And I'm looking at the directions and I'm just like, oh my God, I am about to be, and I wanted to cry so bad, but I held it in. I was like, and I said, hey, just punch in Newport News and then hit go, and then I'm gonna read the instructions from there, right? But she didn't want to do it that way, so I'm sitting here trying to be patient. It's getting dark. The instructions she's writing down, but I'm like, God bless her for at least taking out the time to do this for me. I said, I'm gonna get there. So I said, okay, so I'm going. I went over the instructions with her, got out, ended up at the first toll. As soon as I got to the first toll, first black man I said, look, bro, I'm just trying to get, I said, you see these instructions? He said, oh, she would have had you lost. I was like, thank God I asked this man. See, listen, I ain't too proud to ask for help now. I ain't too proud to ask for help, okay? Most of the time I am. But in this case, because I had to get back to my son. So I lost it outside when I was coming back from the car. Oh, man. You don't even know you dropped it. Did you go back to the school and go to a lost and found? Sometimes, especially during the holiday seasons, people are more generous and more empathetic and sympathetic. So go back to the school. and go to wherever the lost and found is, whatever building is close to, go there and say, hey, did anybody leave a phone? That's what you got to do. Because more times than not, people will turn it in. There are some people out there that are foul, that'll take your stuff and try to unlock. But I will have to say, many times as I've lost stuff, people have returned it. You went back, it was gone where you placed it. Yeah. So any building that's close to where that is, like if you dropped it outside of your classroom or whatever, go back in, talk to the people at the information desk or whoever and say, hey, did anybody leave a phone here? Or go to your school's lost and found and say, hey, I'm looking for my phone. I left it here. I dropped it here. And just try it. Just try and see. And then you come back and let me know. But oftentimes people will do that for you. People will turn your stuff in. So, but y'all, that black man said, oh, she would have had you going the wrong place. I said, okay, how I go? He said, just get on here, switch over to this one, and then just keep going. And it's going to turn right into the 64. I was like, thank you, Lord. So I'm on the road. I'm trying to be safe and get to my son on time. Of course, by the time I got there, the after school program was closed and the people were walking out. And I was like, I'm here. And they was like, he's over there with the babysitter. She just came and got him. I was like, thank you, Lord. God is so good. I was like, they didn't call CPS. They didn't call the police. They just called the emergency contact. And she came and she got my baby. And yeah, I was like, okay, bro, I'm going to come back and get my phone tomorrow. I was messaging him on my son's iPad. I'm going to come back tomorrow and grab my phone. And he was like, all right, auntie. And I was like, but I'm not trying to get lost out there in Richmond. You're going to have to meet me at a place right off of the 64. You tell me where. He told me where. We met and he came, gave me my phone. I was so grateful to him. But I make sure I brought my son with me that time, just in case it got dark and I got lost and I couldn't find him and he couldn't find. I was like, I ain't taking no chances. I picked him up after school and we went on up to Richmond and got my phone. But man, that was scary. I told them that, but they said they didn't see it. Hopefully somebody will turn it in. Do you have a lock on it? Can they just unlock it? I have a lock on mine, but they get sometimes a notification will still come through. So if you could tell somebody, maybe ask to use somebody else's phone and then send a text message to the phone saying, hey, this is my phone, call me at this number, and then put that in or just put the number that you're calling, that you're texting from, say, call me, this is my phone, and then put that phone number in that text so that the notification will come and hopefully they will call you from their phone and say, hey, bro, I got your phone. Try that maybe. Dang it, you don't have the Find My Phone app on your thing, huh? Hopefully somebody will turn it in. Did you just lose it? Was this recently? I didn't put no password on my phone because I knew I would. Oh, so what? All you need is 4 digits, bruh. 4 digits. Something simple. You should be able to remember that. 4 digits. It can be all the same digits. I don't suggest 1, 2, 3, 4 though. That's too common, unfortunately. But yeah, man, I hope you find it. I have a feeling you will. I have a feeling you'll find it. Just go back and then go to whatever building that's is close to by where you dropped it. Go inside and see if it's in there and ask. Ask the people that work there. But that sucks. But let me get off of here. My son is about to get out of his appointment. You take care, 4Z again. I hope you find your phone. Everybody, enjoy the rest of your day. Let's be grateful. Let's be thankful that God woke us up this morning, that he gave us a chance to be better today than we were yesterday. All right, peace.